Day 4 of the Fox 7 football field trip stops in on the LBJ Jaguars. It's a group of players and coaches that went through so much together last season, from the low of a teammate's death to the high of a deep playoff run. Here's John Hygh.
We're going to sneak by them and we're going to get a big play.
Andrew Jackson's LBJ Jaguars shouldn't sneak by anyone after last year's playoff run. The Jags were the first Austin ISD team to make it to the 4th round since 2001.
Last year was just an amazing season for us last year, and they put us back on the map where we was before.
Last year was special, man. Like, we did it for, all of it was for Jermaine, man.
Last year's amazing run was also an emotional one for the Jaguars. Right before the playoffs, their teammate, senior Jermaine Dillard, was struck by a car and killed.
It was tough. Like, when I heard it happen, I was surprised. Like, I saw him the day before, and I was just like, in no words to say.
We had a good connection. You know, he was a great kid, man. He was a great kid. We used to always talk after practice and everything.
They still remembering that kid. You know, they hadn't forgot about Jermaine Dillard at all. So I want people to know that we haven't forgot about Jermaine Dillard. He's still on our heart, and it's on the kids' heart.
After Dillard's death, an anonymous person did something pretty special to help honor him. He donated this tombstone for the kids. And before the Jaguars kick off the season, Coach Jackson says they'll put the tombstone under this tree outside their locker room to help keep Dillard's memory alive.
That would be great. You know, we still remember him every day. We say JD when we break the huddles and everything. So that'd just be great.
You know, all I want him to understand is a reminder that of a good kid who was a team player. That's what it's about, because it's the ultimate team sport to me.
1, 2, 3. All in, buy in.
We just gonna remember him in our hearts and moving forward. You know, like I told the kids, last year's gone. It's gone. What we did last year don't make for this year. So it's about making your history this year. So that's what we're talking about, having an urgency and understand people are going to be coming after them, and they have to come with some intensity.
I like having a target on the back and make us work harder, you know, and we just got to prove everybody wrong again.
Now joined by the statesmen Rick Cantu and Danny Davis, and LBJ had a magical run last year. Will they be able to repeat something like that this season, you think, Danny?
I wouldn't pencil them into the state quarterfinals. That's a tough thing to assume out of any team. But I do believe a district championship is in the foreseeable future for them. They're probably the best team in that district coming in. They were pretty young last year. They did have Avery Jackson, Zay Giles, players they need to replace. But in that state semifinal game against Vandergrift, they played 3 freshmen on offense, which is pretty incredible for that stage of the game. Khalil Thomas, one of their top running backs, he was a sophomore last year. DeAndre Wataski, he's a senior this year. So they have talent coming back. Big offensive lineman, Diedrich Hurd, who was a pretty big leader for them last year in that playoff run where he wore his late teammate's jersey throughout that run. So I like what they have coming back. As long as this group continues to mature, I think 26-5A people should be aware.
Now, talking to Johnny Williams during the practice, Rick, he talked about the team being back on the map. I know one season doesn't put you back on the map, but that season did something for him.
Well, maybe in his mind, they're back on the map, because you got to remember, this is a team that wins that district almost every year. So they have expectations even coming into the season. I think it's interesting that Williams, he's obviously a good player, commits to Colorado State, right. And apparently now he's decommitted, and there's probably a lot of teams looking for him. But I think that the bond that was created last year, it carries over. They say that winning breeds winning. And to go 11-3 last year, it's pretty amazing. The tough thing this year, only 4 players are back on offense. Starters, 4 on defense. So they are going to have to work in some new players. But the pieces they got back, Danny mentioned Wataski, fantastic receiver, 1,100 yards, you know, through the air last year. I think that they've laid the groundwork, and in their minds, they can do it again.
Right.
They have to prove it to the public now.
Yeah, they're a great story out there at LBJ. You can catch that story and all of our Fox 7 field trip stops on our YouTube page shortly after they air. Later in our 10 o'clock sportscast, Rick and Danny share some of their favorite storylines for this season as the kickoff approaches. Tomorrow, we head to Manor.